As a paparazzi who has been following the world of Chinese entertainment for years, there are days that feel ordinary and others that turn into big moments that are unplanned, unexpected, and so fast that all instincts have to work in unison. That day was a rare one. A moment that immediately caught my attention as soon as I saw the first camera shots on my small screen. Without realizing it, I had filmed Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai's togetherness in a public place. A togetherness that looked too familiar to be called an ordinary coincidence. This story begins with a small piece of information that seems unimportant. An anonymous source sent a message that two young artists were in a well-known commercial area in Beijing. No clear name was called, but my intuition was immediately activated. The area is often the location of celebrities because it is relatively spacious and not too conspicuous. Even so, the celebrities I've followed are almost always neatly disguised if they come there. I arrived at the site about an hour after receiving the information. The atmosphere is crowded as usual. People going back and forth, tourists taking selfies, and workers who have just returned from work. Nothing unusual. No sign of superstars. However, while observing the crowd through the camera lens from a distance, there were suddenly two figures whose steps looked different. Their movements are slow, but more careful than others. They wear masks and hats, a common style of celebrities who want to avoid attention. I approached slowly from a safe distance, making sure my steps did not attract attention. As soon as the focus of the lens was clearer, my heart beat faster. Tall posture, well-built shoulders, and a relaxed yet neat manner of walking that was almost certainly Zhang Linghe, while the figure beside him seemed small and light his steps. It took me a few seconds to convince myself before realizing that it was Zhao Jinmai. The two artists were known to be close as industry colleagues, but there was never any news of them meeting just the two of them, let alone in a public place. They did not make any conspicuous physical contact, but there was a distance between the two that was too close to be called accidental. As they entered a large bookstore, I followed from the outside of the window. They were seen walking side by side through the aisles, picking up some books, then moving to the cafe area on the top floor of the store. Their every move was very natural, as if they were used to spending time together. As a paparazzi, the first thing I always consider is not just the visual moment, but the context. Is this really a date? Are these just two friends meeting? Or are you talking about a project? However, the more I observed from behind the shelf, the clearer it became that the atmosphere between them indicated a closeness beyond the professional. Zhang Linghe repeatedly looked down at Zhao Jinmai's choice of drink, while the actress looked relaxed, not showing her usual nervousness when a young artist was in a public place. They chose to sit in a corner of the cafe, a location that is quite hidden but can still be seen from a certain angle if noticed. I took the moment from a safe distance, carefully so as not to make any suspicious sounds or shadows. After about 30 minutes, the two got up and returned to the common area. They seemed to be walking closer together than before. I followed from a moderate distance, pretending to be an ordinary visitor. The atmosphere around them was not suspicious because the area was indeed crowded. But when they passed in front of the small fountain that became the icon of the shopping center, the moment I was waiting for accidentally happened. Zhao Jinmai stumbled a little by the protruding floor tiles, and Zhang Linghe reflexively reached out to his back to stabilize his stride. It was fleeting very fast, but enough to show natural concern. There was no hesitation in the gesture. For a paparazzi, such moments are important evidence. Spontaneous, unplanned, and displays emotional closeness. I made sure not to take too many photos from the same angle so as not to be suspicious. I moved slowly with the flow of people, keeping a position to keep them within visual range. After that, the two walked out of the commercial center towards the basement parking area. Their pace was faster, as if they wanted to immediately leave the crowd. I know I have very little time. As they went down the escalator, I took the last few catches. Even through masks and hats, their gestures show comfort for each other. As they reached the black SUV car that appeared to be Zhang Linghe's vehicle, Zhao Jinmai sat in the front passenger seat without hesitation as if it was a matter of course for them. The car then exited the parking area unhurriedly. After that moment passed, I checked the footage and the photos I took. The pictures are clearer than I thought. The neon light of the mall and the glass reflection of the bookstore provide sufficient lighting. The scene when they were in the cafe, the moment when the two read a book close together, to the second when Zhang Linghe grabbed Zhao Jinmai's back, everything was neatly captured. There is a series of visual narratives that show a closeness that is difficult to deny. As a paparazzi, I know very well that the entertainment world is very sensitive to relationship rumors. Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai were both at the peak of popularity. Linghe is famous for her gentle charm and ideal male image, while Jinmai is on the rise with a reputation of a talented and well-behaved young actress. If the public sees their togetherness, this news is sure to trigger a huge stir. Many fans are always speculating, but there has never been such an obvious moment. Before compiling the report, I made sure to review their entire movement from start to finish. I wrote down the complete chronology, occurrences, interactions, locations, to the details of the clothes they wore to reinforce the visual evidence. I separate each photo in time order so that when the report goes up to the editor, they all look relevant and powerful. This is the standard of a professional paparazzi that I must always adhere to. However, I also cannot ignore the human side of this work. Following someone without them knowing is not a light thing, even if it has become every day. When I saw them laughing a little in the cafe, looking comfortable with each other, and looking like two young people enjoying each other's company, I remembered that despite their public status, they were still human beings. They deserve to have a private life. But my job is to report the facts, not hide them. A few hours after the incident, I submitted a full report to the editorial desk. The response was quick and enthusiastic, as the photos had a high news value. The editors began to verify the official schedules of both artists. As it turned out that day, the two did not have a public agenda, so the chance meeting felt even more suspicious. Management had not yet responded when the editors tried to contact them, which added to speculation that the meeting was not a professional activity. When this report was finally published, a wave of reactions from fans immediately poured in. Some are surprised, some are happy, some are skeptical. But one thing is certain: the moment I captured was not accidental. It was an interaction that showed a closeness that could not be ignored. As a paparazzi, I have witnessed many stories of celebrity relationships from the closest yet most hidden point of view. But there was rarely a moment that felt as vivid and authentic as Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai's togetherness that day. Whether it is true that they are in a relationship or just two close friends, only time will tell. To be sure, that day, I had documented one of the most exciting moments in Chinese entertainment this year.